I'm trying to be back. I decided to do this video again because this morning we had a wonderful time, but just before I actually completed what I wanted to share, the connection died. It didn't just bump, it died. The camels actually overran the Starship Enterprise and took over. So I'm doing this again because I want this to be, available to upload to my YouTube, and I don't want it to be incomplete. And besides, it means I get to play with you again, and I get to show you the day. Hello, I can see you up there. Facebook hasn't told me who you are yet, but it's lovely to see you. And I get to show you this. Autumn crocus through the day. Actually, I'll do it from on top. Aren't they beautiful? Kay, it's gorgeous to see you, sweetheart. Look at them. They're just so abundant. I love these flowers. And we've still got some of the little blue commelina flowers here as well. And they just go together fabulously. Ah, happy birthday! So, this is gorgeous, and they're lovely in the morning, but they're even more beautiful when the sun is out. Look at that. You can see we had some rain. There's some raindrops. Hi, Linda. This is take 2. You were with me for take 1, and now it's take 2. We're just savouring these flowers because, they're here for a little while, and then they're gone for another year. There's some more. Just a screen full of sunlit beauty, and I'm very grateful I get to share them with you. And I also think let's enjoy the clouds of butterflies. It's always how I think of the Japanese anemones. Look at these, the different stages of the flower. I think it fell over because I needed to do this twice. I do. But whatever, I just don't think there are any accidents. I don't think there are any accidents or surprises even. I think everything is orchestrated. Number 1 reporting for a double shift, yes, I reckon. Oh, it was just funny. And let's enjoy as well the willow gentian. You see, that's the other thing, is I get to do the front garden now, and we get to do the bits that, we didn't see because we're in the back garden, and now it's a bit more lush because it's rained. So, autumn is doing its thing. Let's enjoy this foliage. It's probably the best bit over here. It's just so bright yellow. It's gorgeous. So, all right, get to it, Maddie. So, today, for the second time, I want to talk about fear. We've been doing very practical stuff all week because, when your world's on its ear and potentially there's custard on the walls, you want things that actually work, and I'm really passionate about sharing things that actually work for me. Muktananda, it is beautiful to see you. Hey! It's good for everybody to be here together. It's lovely to see you, whether Facebook tells me who you are or not. It's lovely to have you with me, so thank you for joining. And, the world's on its ear. Everything's disrupted. Things are breaking down. And evolutionarily, we are designed to fear the unknown. You think, what? The reason why, we have evolved to fear the unknown. That's probably a better way to say it. If you go back, I don't know, several tens or hundreds of thousands of years, my prehistoric history is not there. But, you think about primitive, I don't even like that word either because they were highly evolved, just in different ways. What we might call primitive peoples, or cavemen, the cave is safe. And that if what you see outside the cave is what you're used to seeing, that's safe too. Or at least that if there's a cliff, you know about the cliff. You know that you're not going to just run off the edge in the night, because you know that it's there. It's known, it's familiar. You know where the dangers are. But if you walk out of your cave and something's changed, immediately it's like, oh, something's changed. Is it safe? Is it not? Magda, sorry to see you again, honey. So we are programmed evolutionarily to naturally have caution about what's unknown. And, when most of the world outside the cave is like normal and something new changes, yeah, okay, most of the time when something changes, it's not a big deal. If something really big changes, though, like you walk out of your cave and there used to be a mountain, and then the next day you walk out and there is no mountain. Or, you know, a forest fire has come by and burnt down the forest, and suddenly everything that you had, that you were used to, I know where to find food in the forest. There was a stream, now it's all full of stuff and I can't drink. You know, when the whole landscape changes in the way that it is changing for the whole of humanity at the moment, it is natural to feel scared. And that's the first thing I want to say, is to explain why, you know, and I've had this recently, why you think, is my body just not settling down? Why am I just feeling scared all the time? Well, you know, this is the normal response. The key thing is not to get stuck there, right? So, explaining why we get scared and we can get stuck in it. It is natural to resist the unknown. So, okay, the world is on its ear. Established systems and processes and things that we have all been very accustomed to, whether we like them or not, are falling to pieces. All bets are off. Your past really feels like the past now. It's like somebody took a great big, knife and chopped a line between what was, a couple of months ago and now. It's gone. It's like there's no going back. And as for what's coming, who knows? No idea. So, the familiar past is no longer familiar because we feel literally disconnected from it. And the future, we don't know. And so we're in the unknown. And like I say, our evolutionary response is to find that fearful. Great opportunities, by the way, when all of these structures fall to pieces. Hi, Laura. Hi, Eric. I'm sure you're in the same room. When all these structures fall to pieces, fantastic opportunities to create. But we've got to get through the fear of the unknown first to do that. So that's what I want to talk about. So, well, how do I do that? How have I been doing that? What do I use? So the very first thing that you got to do when you realise that most of your world is changing and you're going to feel scared unless you take charge of that, the very first thing you have to do is actually realise I am afraid. My body is doing fear for me because my body is perceiving something in my environment that's fearful enough to me, whether it's justified or otherwise, that it's thinking there is a tiger chasing me. Now, this is something I talked about this morning, and I'm grateful it's come back to me because I think it's really valuable to understand. When you are a child, so many things are new to you. The first time you eat a strawberry, the first time you go to school, the first time you meet a new friend, the first time you're doing new activity, the first time something bad happens to you in a particular place. So many firsts. And it keeps on being that way. You go to school, you're learning things, whether you like it or not, you're learning things, you're meeting new people, then you grow up and you start perhaps dating or, making relationships, and maybe you get a job or maybe buy a house, maybe you have children, maybe, the career progresses and all these new things. But by the time we're 35, 95% of who we are is all memorised, it's automatic. And we know how everything in our lives is going to feel. Oh, I read that book by that author, so I know that I like that book. And I know that I'm probably going to like another book that author wrote, so that's cool. Oh, I don't know about that author. I don't know who they are. Can I be bothered even making the effort? It's like we don't naturally, very easily go for new things. And that was just an example that came into my head. Oh, I'm used to doing this kind of work. I don't really like it, but I'm used to it. And it's such an effort to go to something else because we know how that work feels. We may not like how it feels, but it's familiar. And we stay with our familiar past and our predictable future because we know it and we know how it's going to feel. Now, for me, I can't shop in my normal places. Gillian, it's great to see you, honey. Yeah, what can I control? Yes, exactly. I can't shop in the normal places, and I realised myself having fear about not being able to get the food that I'm used to having. Really, Maddie? But, it was like, oh my goodness, this is so important to me. Oh no. But I don't know how it's going to feel having to change my routine to go to a different place or to shop online. I've actually got to go. I've got to make some time to sit down at my computer and choose, am I shopping there online or am I shopping there online? It's a different process, and I don't know how it feels. It's unfamiliar. I haven't done it before. Amazing. Really simple thing to notice the resistance come up in me about it. We don't know how it feels. We naturally resist it. Because by the time you're 35, you do know how everything feels. So, if the body interprets that not knowing as a threat and goes into fear, that's kind of awkward. Because now you've got to tackle something new. You've got to make space in your mind and your brain and your body for a new experience, and your body is just wanting to run away from a tiger. Kind of hard, right? Brain's not the space to let new information in. It's just saying, I got to fight, I got to flee, or I got to freeze. That's it. So we need to get out of that survival response. Now, sometimes that response is, kind of mild, and sometimes it just takes us over, and, it's very adaptive. If you're being chased by a tiger, you need to mobilise all of your internal resources away from digesting food, away from fighting pathogens and invaders, away from growing a baby, away from anything that's about maintenance, and put it into survival. So when you go into that kind of stress mode, blood is directed to your extremities so you can run, so you can do what you need to do to move your body away from the danger. It comes away from the thinking part of the brain, the frontal lobe, and it goes to the back of the brain, which is the animal brain. It goes to instinct. That's why it's really hard to tackle new challenges when you're stressed out of your pea shooter. Ruthie, it's great to see you. You can't think because the rational brain is not there. It's got no blood supply. Everything is about, what do I need to run away from? How can I keep myself safe? How am I going to get from where I am to where I need to be, and how long is it going to take to get there? That's survival, right? And if you need to run away from a tiger or lift a car off a child that's underneath it, or, whatever, it's great for the short term. But if you stay in that state, it's not great for the long term. Because, remember I just said, when you're in that state, all the blood supply and the nutrition and the energy is going to being able to run away or fight or freeze. There's nothing there to keep your body healthy. And what we know is that when your stress hormones are elevated for long periods of time, it actually turns down your immune system. There's an inverse relationship. One goes up, the other one goes down. It's like a seesaw. So, it's okay if it tips, but if it stays up there, your immunity is going to be impacted. So that's why we have to get out of the stress response. So, how do I do that? I needed to explain all that. How do I do that? The first thing is to realise that I'm actually having this response. And we all know what it feels like. Your stomach's a bit churny. You might even feel a bit sick. You can't think. Maybe you're sweating a bit. Maybe you've got cold. Maybe you're shivering. Hi, Nesreen. I get cold, right? When my body goes into this, because the peripheral circulation kind of shuts down. It's funny. It's amazing what the autonomic nervous system can do. So, you notice it. Okay. Realise that if you suppress it, it's still going on. You're just saying, I'm not feeling this. And look, sometimes we just have to do that. But I'm talking about a situation where you actually have enough presence of mind and, a moment to at least breathe in and out and think, oh, I'm feeling scared. Right, I better notice this. This is not an invitation to dive into it, because that's not helpful either. But you've got to acknowledge it. You've got to be present. And for me, and most of the time we do actually have time to pay attention, to exercise our powers of metacognition, which means thinking about what you're thinking about, and start to notice, what am I actually scared of? Really? What am I scared of? And, when I think about the whole thing of, I need to go shopping at different places, what am I actually concerned about? It might actually just be the sheer hassle of having to work it out in the middle of the fact that I seem to have a lot of demands on my time at the moment. less sleep, more work. It might just be that. I don't know. I haven't really worked it out. And to some extent it doesn't matter, but you just need to pay attention enough to think. Because sometimes it's like, oh my God, I'm really scared of that particular thing. Okay, at least I know that now. All right, so you've acknowledged it. You can tune into your body a little bit and notice how you're feeling. Again, because as soon as you are observing what's going on in your life, you're no longer just in the middle of it. You're not in the matrix, you're looking at the matrix. You know, you're sitting in the on the oh God, what's the name of the ship? I can see it, but I can't remember its name. You're sitting on the Nebuchadnezzar, looking at the screens and seeing those numbers pouring down, because that's the matrix. As soon as you are looking at yourself, and when you're doing that, as soon as you've done that, that is a massive victory, particularly if you've never done it before. If you've actually got out of the program enough to see, oh my God, I'm scared. I'm actually scared. And my body's doing this, and I'm thinking these things, and you're watching yourself do it. That's really different from thinking, oh my God, I'm scared, I'm so scared, and this could happen, that could happen, and you're right in the middle of it, right? It's very different just to pull yourself out of the matrix enough to see it. And if you can do that, and if you do a little bit of homework, which is really, you know, what I've had to do and what all of you are doing, one way or another, you can start to think, okay, what am I going to do now? Now, my go-to, if I'm on the move, if I don't have time to stop, Robin, lovely to see you. If I don't have much time, my go-to is to put my awareness, you know, breastbone, behind the breastbone, about an inch into my body, into my heart center. And you can try this now. You can try this now. And I know many of you are familiar with this, but just do it anyway because it feels so nice. No matter how good you're feeling, you're always going to feel better when you do this. So if you put your awareness in your heart and simply breathe in and out of your heart, follow your breath, which is weird, right? Because you're used to breathing into your nose and feeling like it sort of goes into your heart, but to have it actually come into your heart directly and then to breathe, I can feel, thank you guys, I can feel it when you start doing this. I can feel it from here because we're all connected, right? So you put your attention in your heart, you breathe in, you breathe out, just doing that. It changes things. And there's a whole lot of stuff that I probably can't remember to explain to you. But putting your attention in your heart and breathing like this begins to bring you towards heart coherence. And when your heart is coherent, it makes your brain coherent. And when your brain is coherent, you actually cannot be afraid or stressed. So it's a direct thing, you know, like if your fear is up, your coherence is down. If you increase your coherence, your fear is going to go down. Very, very direct impact of this. And you can do it while you're washing dishes. God, I mean, this would be a thing. I'm not a parent. You can do it while you're looking after your kids. By the way, it'll help your kids deal with the fact that they're noticing all the stress around. They don't consciously know, but they're very connected to all the energy, electromagnetic energy that each one of us emits. As soon as you become more coherent, they'll be more coherent. You can guarantee it. It's amazing what happens with children when parents get coherent. So put your energy in your heart and breathe in and out, and then choose something that you would like to feel. And this is a choice. It is a choice, and this is the homework. You've really got to decide ahead of time what it is that you're going to use as your go-to. And you don't have to set it in concrete and say, oh, I'll never do anything different. But, you know, maybe, okay, here it is, this is the morning. When I decide to breathe through my heart today because I'm noticing that I'm scared because everything feels like it's going to hell in a handbasket, even though I know it's just old systems breaking down and new things coming in, which is amazing, but it's still scary. I'm going to decide to breathe safety in and out of my heart. Or I'm going to decide to breathe gratitude in and out of my heart. We had a gratitude storm the other day. That felt so good. I'm going to choose to breathe love in and out of my heart. And I used to really fall over that because I really didn't know what the hell does that mean? And every time I sort of connect with more love, it's not whatever I used to think it was. Maybe I'm going to just breathe a smile or breathe sunshine or breathe the sense of the wide openness of the ocean. You need to choose what it is for you. And then when try practicing it when things are not crazy. See, part of that, if you practice it when things are not crazy, is you're installing the neurological hardware in your brain so that it's a little bit easier to practice it when things are crazy. Now, what do I mean by neurological hardware? When you learn something, and I guarantee that one or other of you, most of you, will have put something new together just in this time that we're together, because I share information, right? And by the way, it doesn't have to be completely new information. I go back to the same information with a different mind, and I learn something new because I've got different eyes now to see new things. Just like a wine connoisseur is going to drink a really good wine and have a completely different experience from somebody who drinks out of a carton. The wine connoisseur has all kinds of hardware in their brain to appreciate the fine nuances of an amazing wine. The other person is just plonk, So, if you practice, every time you learn something, you make connections in your brain. And if you just learn something, you go, oh, that was really cool, but you don't remember it and you don't practice it, those connections will prune apart within hours or days. So, learning something is making connections in the brain, remembering it, practicing it, recalling it, that's maintaining them. So, it would be a really good idea to think, okay, what's my go-to emotion today, this week, this hour, whatever. Make a conscious choice. And then when you notice yourself heading towards fear, head it off at the pass if you can. So we don't always get that opportunity. Sometimes a storm blows up in an instant. But if you notice, okay, my brain's going off into fear and chatter. And it really helps me to put a hand over my heart because, and I give it a rub and it brings my attention there. And just run that program. You see, you're installing a new program. And every time you do it, you make more connections in your brain. And, I know I've talked about this before, that if your body and your brain are programmed to fear, and maybe you've been doing that for a while, you've got a superhighway in your brain about being afraid. And if you're going to do something different like this, it's going to feel like you're bushwhacking through jungles of lianas and vines and thorns and everything. There's going to be so much resistance. It's not going to feel easy, okay? Expect that. It will get easier, but it's like you are hacking through a jungle with a machete. That's why there's so much resistance, because your body and brain are used to doing something else. So you make a conscious choice. Okay, today I'm going to practice gratitude. And I say gratitude because if there's nothing else you can think of, there is always something you can feel grateful for. And I'm going to put my hand on my heart. I'm going to breathe in and out of my heart, and I'm going to breathe in gratitude and breathe it out. Just doing that. If you can do that for 3 minutes, you're going to shift your state. If you can do it for 5, you're going to shift it more. If you can do it for 10, you're going to feel good. That's just a fact. It works. We have to apply ourselves. There is no magic pill. You are the magic pill. You and your will and your choice and useful, repeatable, reliable information. And practice. So that's what I do. It's not the only thing I do by any means, but it's what I felt to share today. So, I know I've run a bit over time, but I'm going to show you these beautiful flowers again. So the bonus of doing this again at lunchtime is that they've got sunlight on them and they're so pretty. So this is the poster shot. And listen to the crickets. This is my favourite sound. Probably in the whole wide world. This is sound right here. The wind rustling the leaves on the trees and just moving things gently, and the sound of the crickets. And I'm so glad I get to enjoy it with you. Thanks for being with me. Big love. It's Friday. Look out for resonant replays. Stay safe. Stay home. Unless you're essential. And then take very good care. And I'll see you on Monday. Sunday for you if you're behind the dateline. Big love. Bye-bye.